After the Fat Controller had confined Peter Sam to shunting duties after his accident with the trucks on the Old Iron Bridge, Duncan and Rheneas were asked to cover his duties at the slate mines. Rheneas got on with his work. But Duncan would not stop teasing Peter Sam about the accident. This made Peter Sam feel very sad. His driver even knew it wasn't his fault, it was due to a faulty coupling on the truck nearest to him. But one night, Duncan encountered something that would stop this nonsense once and for all. Ooh, this is actually quite eerie. Bah, get hold of yourself, Duncan. Rusty's story wasn't true. Then ahead, Duncan saw flickering lights. His driver knew these were little insects that shine brightly at night, but to Duncan, they looked like an engine. Then, his driver secretly threw a rock from the cab into the ravine below. It's the ghost! Take me back, please! When Duncan arrived back at the sheds of the slate mines, he closed his eyes tightly. His driver and fireman found the whole situation hilarious. Spooked, are you, Duncan? No, I'm asleep. And he refused to open his eyes. But he did, though, just when he thought his driver wasn't looking, to make sure that he was still there. Next morning, Rheneas brought some empty trucks up to the slate mines. But to his surprise, when he arrived, he saw Duncan sat solemnly in the shed.
What's the matter?
Ghost on the bridge. Rheneas went wide-eyed.
You saw it?
He saw nothing. We've told you a dozen times now, Duncan. It was only us.
Such things should not be used for jokes.
Ah, don't be ridiculous, Rheneas. Rusty's story isn't true.
It's all too true. And I should know. I saw it with my own two eyes.
Who is it? Rheneas composed himself, and this is the story he told. In the line's early days, Skarloey and Rheneas worked tirelessly, taking passengers and goods up and down the mountains. But after a while, it proved too much for Skarloey. So he had to sit in the shed awaiting repairs. Which meant now Rheneas did the lion's share of the work. Rheneas didn't fault him for it. But the strain was starting to show. One night, trouble with the winch delayed his journey from the mines, so Rheneas was exhausted and eager for the comfort of his shed. Darkness had fallen, and the light of the moon spilled over the hills. As Rheneas neared the old iron bridge, he heard the sound of another engine.
Who could be out so late?
before soon he caught the sight of an engine sitting on the other side of the bridge. Rheneas blinked to be sure he wasn't seeing things. It looked like Skarloey.
What on earth is Skarloey doing out there?
But then, as soon as it came, the engine disappeared through the bushes and into the mist. When he returned to the shed, Rheneas was very cross.
If you can't work during the day, you definitely cannot go gallivanting off at night.
Oh, I beg your pardon.
You know better than to fool around by that bridge, especially when others are still out working.
Do you need a rest? You're seeing things.
And then the two engines went grumpily to sleep. And they didn't say a word to each other the next morning. The next night, Rheneas was late leaving the mines again. It was a misty evening, and he had to take care as he set off with his train of trucks. As Rheneas puffed slowly along, he peered through the mist, keeping a watchful eye for Skarloey. He had just reached the bridge when a shrieking whistle echoed through the hills. Rheneas was surprised, and so was his driver. They stopped at once. What was that?
That wasn't Skarloey's whistle.
He peered across the bridge where the mist danced frantically. And there it was. It looked strikingly similar to Skarloey, but painted all in black. Its face was worn and weary, and its harsh gaze peered right through him. Slowly, menacingly, it started across the bridge towards Rheneas. The engines puffed, echoed through the gorge. As it drew near, there was a bump, and Rheneas watched in horror as the engine tipped and plunged up the side of the bridge, its whistle screaming out until... In his shock, he looked down at the rails. There was a crack at the spot where the engine had came off.
We must get help. He'll drown.
Rheneas raced back to the mines. When he returned, he quickly told the foreman what had happened. So, it still roams under the light of the full moon, eh? That's how the legend goes anyway. Don't be silly, Rheneas. There's only 2 engines on this line, and you're one of them. You can spend the night here, however, and we'll mend the rail in the morning.
That engine saved me in the end. If I'd ventured across the bridge, I wouldn't be here talking to you now. My crew and I put it down to exhaustion, despite knowing what we saw. Skarloey heard the whistle too, and was relieved when I arrived home safe. We made up at once, and we've taken great care on that bridge ever since.
So Rusty's ghost is... In the distance, the echoes of a whistle filled the air.
All too real.